Hello and welcome to this new class. Today we're going to review verbs. Verbs are words that indicate action, existence, possession or mood. In English, we use the preposition to form the infinitive. For example, to talk, to eat, to change, etc. Verbs are the most complicated part of speech, and there are many types of verbs. Let's study some of them. Principal verbs. This term refers to the important verb in the sentence, the one that typically shows the action or state of being of the subject. Main verbs can stand alone, or they can be used with a helping verb, also called an auxiliary verb. Continuing with the verbs, let's see auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs can add detail to the action or help the principal verb. They are also sometimes referred to as helping verbs. The principal ones are be, do, and have. The following are modal verbs. Modal verbs add modality, possibility, ability, permission, prohibition, and obligation to the verb. The modal verb is an auxiliary verb that expresses necessity or possibility. In English, modal verbs include must, shall, will, should, would, can, could, may, and might. The next one is transitive verbs. Transitive verbs connect the subject with the object of the sentence. It is used with an object, a noun, phrase, or pronoun that refers to the person or thing that is affected by the action of the verb. Another type of verbs is intransitive verbs. This verbs only need a subject and does not have an object. Then we have prepositional verbs, that is a combination of verb and preposition. It is simply a verb followed by a preposition. For example, she is waiting for him, or we believe in God. And finally we have phrasal verbs, that is an idiomatic phrase consisting of a verb and another element, typically either an adverb, as in break down, or a preposition, for example, see to, or a combination of both, such as look down on. Verbs can be active or passive. For now, at this level, we will focus on the uses of principal and auxiliary verbs. These are some of the most common verbs in English. Let's watch them. Now let's review the auxiliary verbs. There are three important verbs in English that can be used as either principal verbs or auxiliary verbs: to be, to have, and to do. The meaning will change depending on the use, but the conjugation is always the same. Be is used with other verbs to form continuous tenses and the passive voice. For example, she is reading a magazine. Have is used to make perfect tenses. For example, in 2 years, we will have established community gardens. For emphasis, he did look tired. Or to make questions, do you want a coffee? And to form negative statements or questions, I don't like meat. Or didn't he know how to play football? Let's continue with the verb to be. This is the most common and most important verb in English, as in many other languages. At the same time, it is an irregular verb in all verb tenses, and the construction of negative and interrogative sentences using the verb to be is different that of the other verbs. We also use the verb to be to form the present continuous. As it is so common and so important and at the same time irregular, it is essential to have a good understanding of how to conjugate this verb. For example, continuing, let's see the verb to have. When is used as a principal verb, to have indicates possession. It is used as an auxiliary verb in forming the perfect tenses. It is important to understand that this verb can be used in both manners, and that it is irregular. For example, I have a job. I have a car. I don't have any time. And the conjugation is. Let's review the verb to do. As a principal verb, to do is a primary action verb meaning to perform or execute. As an auxiliary verb, it has no meaning, but is essential in constructing negative and interrogative sentences in the simple tenses. It may also be used in affirmative sentences for emphasis. For example, do you always take the bus to work? I do like this beer. My wife does the dishes, and the conjugation is. Now let's make some exercises about verbs. In these you have to choose the correct answer. Good luck. Continuing with the exercises, let's make some others. In these you'll have to write the words in the correct order. Let's start. Well, we have finished this class. We hope you've enjoyed it. Please join us for the next class, and don't stop studying. Bye.